Driving home late one night, Chris Davis pulled over near Scape swamp to change a flat tire. Finishing up, he heard something moving in the darkness. He turned and saw a towering creature staring back at him. Suddenly, it charged. Chris dove into his car and stomped the gas. The creature leaped onto the roof, clawing and punching at it as it held on. Desperate, Chris slammed on the brakes. The monster went flying off into the road in front of him. Completely freaking out, Chris weaved around it. Whatever just attacked him wasn't a bear, wasn't an alligator, and according to Chris Davis, it definitely wasn't human. I'm Uncle Perry. I don't just tell stories, I dig up the fucked up ones most folks are too chicken shit to talk about. And I do it in a cavalier kind of way. When it comes to cryptids, I chase down the truth behind the legends. Today, we're digging into the lizard man of Scape Swamp the way nobody else does. Not just the 1988 madness, but the modern encounters folks don't talk about, and the documented stories that go all the way back to the tribes who first saw this thing long before Bishopville ever fucking existed. Oh, hell yeah! It's post time, baby! It's time to crack a frosty one, kick your feet up, and let's get it! The encounter that put the lizard man of Scape Swamp on the map happened on June 29th, 1988. 17-year-old Christopher Davis was driving home to Bishopville after finishing a late shift at McDonald's. It was late, the roads were quiet, and Davis figured the hardest part of the night was already behind him. Then his tire blew out. The flat happened near the edge of Scape Swamp, just outside of town. Davis pulled over and got to work changing it. As he tightened the last lug nut, he heard water splash coming from the dark swamp. It sounded like something lifted out of the water. Then he heard walking through dry leaves. Davis looked toward the tree line about 25 yards away and saw a pair of glowing red eyes staring back at him. As the figure moved closer, he could make out its shape. Later, he described it as about 7 feet tall with green, wet-looking skin covered in large, snake-like scales. It had glowing red eyes and only 3 fingers on each hand. Whatever the hell it was, Davis wasn't gonna fuck around and find out. Suddenly, the creature charged. Davis jumped into his car and slammed the door just as the creature reached him. According to the police report, it grabbed the handle and tried to open the fucking door, then clawed at the vehicle. Holding the door shut, he fucking mashed the gas pedal and busted ass down the road. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. Before he took off, the creature jumped onto the roof of the car, denting the metal and scratching it as Davis sped away. It ripped off one of his side mirrors and continued pounding and scratching the roof. Davis could see its claws wrapping around the inside of the window. Frantic, Davis slammed on the brakes. The creature flew off the roof, giving him the opening he needed. He hit the gas and peeled out, the smell of burnt rubber everywhere. However, the dickhead quickly got up and started chasing Davis. It was getting bigger in his rearview mirror. Unbelievably, it was fucking gaining on him. Davis later stated that the creature was running in sync with his car as he pushed it past 40 miles per hour. Holy shit. Could you imagine looking in your rearview mirror and seeing a 7-foot reptilian monster keeping pace with your fucking car in the middle of the night? That's going to require a couple of extra shots of relaxation juice. When Lee County Sheriff Liston Truesdale heard the story, he initially suspected a hoax. Then he saw the damage to the car and how genuinely terrified the boy was. The sheriff and his deputies investigated the scene and discovered 3-toed footprints near the swamp measuring roughly 14 inches long. Wildlife experts couldn't identify them. Truesdale had plaster casts made, though they were never sent off for official analysis. Davis also agreed to take a polygraph test and passed it with flying colors. Over the years, Sheriff Truesdale's opinion softened. At one point, he famously said, "If it's a hoax, it's the best one I've ever seen." Christopher Davis never changed his story. He stuck to it until his death in 2009, and people who knew him insisted he wasn't the kind of person who would make up bullshit like that. Description: lore. If there was ever a place built to hide some weird-ass critter, it's Scape or Swamp. This 15,000-acre stretch of South Carolina backwoods hell is packed with cypress trees, blackwater creeks, thick palmettos, hanging Spanish moss, and enough mud and standing water to make getting around a complete pain in the ass. Even during the day, the swamp seems like a maze, and at night, it becomes downright fucking creepy. The area sits near Bishopville and connects to the Lynch's River watershed, creating endless pockets of dense vegetation where something could stay hidden for years. That's a big reason why the legend of the Lizard Man took hold so quickly. In 1988, local radio station WCOS even offered a $1 million reward to anyone who could capture the creature alive. Needless to say, it was never claimed. Unsurprisingly, that led to a shitload of new sightings, along with a fair amount of bullshit and hoaxes. According to reports, the Lizard Man is mostly nocturnal and highly territorial, showing up on lonely roads and in isolated areas after dark. Strangely, one of its most famous traits is an obsession with vehicles, with witnesses claiming it scratched, climbed on, and basically fucked up their cars. As for what the creature looks like, most descriptions are remarkably similar. Witnesses describe a massive reptilian beast standing between 7 and 9 feet tall with green, scaly skin, glowing red eyes, sharp teeth, and long 3-fingered claws. Some reports add a tail, ridges along its back, and enough strength to beat your mom in arm wrestling. Historical origins. Maybe the Lizard Man wasn't first spotted in 1988. It's possible folks saw this weird bastard generations earlier. Check out this strange-ass story from the Creek Indians recorded in the 1929 book Myths and Tales of the Southeastern Indians. Several Indians were out together and formed a hunting camp. A hunter came back one evening and said, "I have found a big bear tree." He told the rest of the hunters, and they said to one another, "Tomorrow morning we will set out, build a fire there, and smoke the she-bear out so that we can see her." They slept, and the next day started off and came to the place. When they got to where the big tree stood, it looked as if something lived there, and they said to one another, "A bear surely lives here." So they started a fire under it. The smoke filled up the hollow inside, and soon a big lizard came out. The people saw it and ran away. The big lizard jumped down and gave chase. It ran along till it caught one of them and came back with him. It came back with him to the big tree and threw him down into it. Then it chased another and did the same to each in turn. Overtook, caught, and brought him back. Only one was left. It chased him, and after he had gone a long distance, overtook him and brought him back. When it was coming through a place where the trees were thick, a tiger was lying asleep there. When the big lizard got there with the man, the tiger awoke and jumped upon it. The lizard let the man go and jumped upon the tiger in return, and they began to fight. While they were about it, the man whom the big lizard had caught, who was still alive, acted as though he were dead. He lay still and watched the big lizard fighting the other big creature. They fought until they hurt each other. The big lizard did not go back for the man. It went on without looking for him. The tiger was also hurt. It sat there, dying. The man saw this, jumped up and ran away. Of the people who had gone far away from their homes to hunt, only one came back. He told his people how the big lizard had killed all the others. Other sightings. While Chris Davis gets most of the attention, he wasn't the first person to run into whatever the fuck was lurking around Scape Swamp. Months before his famous encounter, George Holloman Jr. reported seeing something strange near Browntown Road in Bishopville. In October of 1987, George was riding his skateboard when he noticed a tall, dark asshole step out of the woods. At first, it looked human, but something felt off. The figure was bulky, standing upright, but unlike a normal person. Before he could get a better look at it, it disappeared back into the trees. The sighting didn't receive much attention at the time, but after the lizard man craze exploded the following year, many researchers pointed back to George's encounter as the first modern sighting of the lizard man. Then, on the morning of June 24, 1988, 5 days before Chris Davis's sighting, Bob and Dixie Rawson woke up to a scene that looked like something straight out of a goddamn horror movie. Their van, parked in the driveway, had been absolutely wrecked. Deep scratches covered the vehicle. Large dents were visible along the body, and investigators documented what appeared to be bite and claw marks. Strangely, the Rawsons hadn't heard a damn thing during the night. They simply woke up and found their vehicle wrecked. Deputies from Lee County examined the damage and measured the bite marks. According to their reports, the spacing suggested a mouth far larger than any domestic animal. Then, the Chris Davis insanity we already covered occurred in July of 1988. After the Chris Davis encounter hit the news, reports started pouring in from all over the Bishopville area. Some people wrote them off as copycats, but a few witnesses, now not afraid of being ridiculed, insisted they had seen something fucked up with their own eyes. One of those witnesses was Frank Mitchell. During the summer of 1988, Mitchell was at a Lee County airport preparing for a flight when he spotted something crossing a grassy runway. According to his account, the creature stood about 9 feet tall and was moving upright across the field. The sight was fucked up enough that Mitchell decided to cancel the flight altogether. Whatever he saw, he apparently didn't need to get a closer look. Another report came from Tom and Mary Way, who lived near Scape Swamp. One evening at dusk, the couple spotted a tall figure crossing a road near their home. They described the creature as more than 7 feet tall, with green, scaly skin and glowing red eyes. According to their account, it moves quickly on 2 legs before disappearing into the darkness. When authorities investigated the area, they found several unusual 3-toed footprints in the soft dirt and made casts of them. That same summer, Bishopville resident Rodney Nolf reported seeing a strange creature near a cornfield. He described it as green in color with glowing eyes and said it was running upright like a person. The sighting added yet another report to the growing pile of the lizard man phenomenon flooding into Lee County. Not every report turned out to be legitimate, though. On August 5, 1988, Kenneth Orr, a colonel stationed at Shaw Air Force Base, claimed he had encountered the lizard man along Highway 15 and had even shot and wounded it. As evidence, he handed over several scales with blood on them. The story generated a shitload of attention, but it quickly fell apart. Just 2 days later, Orr admitted the entire thing was a load of horse shit. He confessed he had made up the encounter to keep the lizard man story alive and in the headlines. The colonel was eventually charged for unlawfully carrying a pistol and filing a false police report. Although the frenzy of sightings slowed down after 1988, reports of the lizard man never completely disappeared. Over the years, witnesses continued coming forward with reports that sounded very consistent with the original encounters. In 1990, a Lee County farmer reported a series of mysterious livestock attacks. Several goats and pigs were suddenly found dead under extremely strange circumstances. The farmer believed the lizard man was responsible. The story spread quickly through the local community. Other encounters surfaced throughout the 1990s and 2000s. One couple reported the creature suddenly leapt onto the roof of their car while they were driving near a wooded area. According to their account, the impact shook the entire vehicle before the creature lost its grip and fell off into the darkness. Several hunters also reported seeing pairs of glowing red eyes watching them from deep in the woods. Some said the eyes remained visible even after they turned out their flashlights, making the experience even more fucked. In 2004, a motorist driving near Bishopville reported seeing a green figure dart across the road directly in front of his vehicle. He almost hit the damn thing. The sighting was brief, lasting only a few seconds. He insisted it was unlike any animal he had ever seen. Then in 2008, resident Bob Rawson reported hearing deep, guttural growls outside his home late at night. The next morning, he discovered unusual 3-toed tracks near his property. While nobody could definitively identify them, Rawson believed they were connected to the lizard man legend. Interest in the creature exploded again in 2015 when local television station WCIV featured photos and videos showing the lizard man. Some of the images were submitted by a man named Jim Wilson, while others came from unidentified individuals. The footage spread online like wildfire, with believers arguing it finally showed evidence of the creature, and skeptics dismissing it as outright hoaxes. That same year, photos appearing to show a scaly humanoid walking upright near Bishopville went viral across social media, reigniting debate about whether something strange still lurked around Scape Swamp. And most recently, in 2021, a Lee County motorist reported catching a glimpse of a tall green figure crossing the road near the swamp. The sighting lasted only a moment before the figure disappeared into the darkness. But it proved that more than 3 decades after the legend began, people are still reporting encounters with the mysterious lizard man. Skeptical explanations. So, what do skeptics think was really going on in South Carolina? The simplest explanation is that people were misidentifying ordinary animals in fucked up viewing conditions. Scape Swamp is packed with wildlife, and seeing something strange at night ain't unusual. Black bears can stand upright for short periods. Large alligators can look surprisingly bizarre from certain angles. And feral hogs have scared the absolute shit out of plenty of folks who weren't expecting to run into one in the dark. Some researchers have even suggested an escaped exotic pet, like a large monitor lizard, could explain some reports. Then there's the timing. Skeptics argue that the massive wave of sightings in 1988 was largely a product of suggestion. Once Christopher Davis's encounter made headlines, folks all over Lee County suddenly had a name and image for every weird thing they saw. A strange shadow, an unusual animal, or a creepy noise in the woods could easily become a lizard man encounter once the story was everywhere. One explanation is so ridiculous, it sounds like a joke. According to some locals, the lizard man was actually a butterbean farmer guarding his shed after a series of thefts. Yeah, no bullshit. A butterbean farmer. Vehicle damage also has less mysterious explanations. Deer collisions, wildlife encounters, and ordinary accidents can leave deep scratches, dents, and broken mirrors. And of course, cryptid history is packed with hoaxes. People have faked tracks, damaged property, and invented encounters for attention for decades. Most skeptics believe the legend grew from a combination of misidentifications, media hype, mass hysteria, and a dash of well-placed hoaxes mixed into the chaos. Believer explanations. Of course, believers call complete bullshit on the idea that the entire lizard man story can be explained away by confused witnesses, cars damaged by animals, and a butterbean farmer wandering around in the fucking dark. They point out that dozens of people reported seeing a remarkably similar creature without knowing each other or hearing their stories. The descriptions of a tall, green reptilian figure with glowing eyes and 3-fingered hands showed up again and again. It makes some people wonder what the hell was lurking around Scape Swamp. One of the most popular theories is that the lizard man is an undiscovered animal species. Cryptozoologists have suggested it could be some kind of unknown reptile or a creature specifically adapted to aquatic or semi-aquatic life. Scape Swamp is exactly the sort of place where something elusive could stay on the DL. It's isolated, packed with wildlife. Shit. It's isolated, difficult to navigate, packed with wildlife, and full of places where a creature could avoid human contact. Some researchers have even floated the idea that it could be a surviving lineage of theropod dinosaurs, or a distinct reptilian descendant that survived unnoticed. Now, before you laugh too hard, believers point to discoveries like the pygmy long-fingered possum, a species scientists thought had been extinct for more than 6,000 years until it was found alive in New Guinea on March 6, 2026. Scientists even have a word for it. They call these comeback species Lazarus taxa. Their argument is pretty fucking simple. If that shit happened once, it could definitely happen again. Another theory suggests the creature might be some kind of mutated animal. Lee County has a long history of agriculture, and some believers speculate that decades of pesticides, chemical runoff, and environmental contamination could have produced unusual genetic mutations in the local wildlife. While there's no evidence supporting that idea, proponents argue that it explains the creature's bizarre appearance and aggressive behavior. Then there's the theory that's wild but totally on the table. Researchers argue the lizard man isn't an animal at all. It's an extraterrestrial. They point to the glowing red eyes, the bizarre behavior, and the sudden 1988 debut as signs that something way stranger is going on. It's not a swamp creature. It's a rogue reptilian that slipped off whatever ship it came on. Whether the lizard man is a misidentified animal, an undiscovered species, or something far stranger, Scape or swamp remains the perfect place for a legend to survive. The swamp sits right alongside roads, farms, and neighborhoods, creating a weird overlap between civilization and untamed wilderness. Many sightings happen near fields and highways bordering the swamp, leading some believers to think the creature occasionally ventures out in search of food or because human activity is pushing deeper into its territory. For Bishopville, the lizard man has become both a boogeyman and a mascot. There are festivals, murals, souvenirs, and plenty of tourists chasing the legend. But when darkness falls, people still think twice about wandering into the swamp. Because deep down, everyone knows the swamp hides secrets, and sometimes those secrets claw back. Do you like weird-ass monsters? Then tap that like button and subscribe. That way, you won't miss out on more of my fucked-up commentary. And besides, I really do appreciate it. Picture those muddy banks, rippling as something stands up, taller than you, dripping algae with a low hiss, staring at you like it knows your mom's name. How would you handle that moment? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you're ready to crank that shit all the way up to 11, that join button's got your name on it. For just $2.99, you can have my back in a huge fucking way. Until next time, y'all keep it real, keep it chill, and stay creepy! Catch you on the flip. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. You are the real beast.